Hello and welcome to this webinar. My name is Holger Kast. I'm the head of training education at TRI. I'm going to lead you to this webinar, and I would like to introduce you to Ashley Letter, who is going to do this webinar today. And we have certain rules for this webinar. So you have on your right top side, you have a toolbar where you can write in some questions during Ashley's presentation. So, and at the end of this webinar, we're going to pass the questions to Ashley, and the rest of the webinar you are on mute, and at the end we have the chance to answer your questions. So today's topic is going to be discover the secrets to perfect communication in your dental practice with Ashley Letter, and I would like you to introduce yourself, Ashley. I'm going to pass you the rights to your computer, and then we go and start.
Okay, thank you.
1 second. It's 1 second.
No problem.
Here we go.
Now
Now it should work, yeah?
Fantastic. Just I'll press
Good.
over here and over here, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, we see you.
Fantastic. Can you all see my slides?
Yes, everything perfect. You can go ahead.
Fantastic. So good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are watching this webinar. It's 11 o'clock here in the United Kingdom, and I'd like to personally thank you for attending this webinar today. And I'm going to really, in the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so, share some real proven ideas that can help you create more opportunities and have more patients saying yes in an ethical manner to your implant treatment plans. In fact, most of this material I'm going to share with you today will help you with all sorts of treatments that you provide your patients. Just a few quick ways here of how to follow me. You can see there Facebook, Twitter, the Instagram, YouTube. On the YouTube channel, we have, if you type in Ashley Letter there, there's probably around about 150 videos there of education you can watch. But also, if you go to iTunes, I record a podcast once a month called Two Reds Are Better Than One. And there's probably about 25 interviews in there as well. Some excellent dentists, very, very forward-thinking people there. And you get some great ideas by listening to those podcasts as well. So it's called Two Reds Are Better Than One. I have got some slides prepared for you today. I am going to be jumping through them fairly quickly. So if you just want to write this email address now down, now please, it's ashley@thesellingcoach.com. So it's ashley@thesellingcoach.com. And if you can send me an email, I will send you the slides for my presentation today as a reminder of my presentation. And we also do a lunch and learn video about once every 2 weeks as well that goes out. So you can sign up for that as well. So if you just send me an email, please, that's ashley@thesellingcoach.com. You can either send that now or write it down and send it to me at the end. Like I said, we'll send the slides over to you. So like I said, today's webinar, I'm going to be working with you and sharing some tips and ideas that will help you increase your treatment plan acceptance and have more patients saying yes, all in a very, very ethical manner. For the people that don't know me, my name is Ashley Letter, and I have now been working in the dental market for around about 24 years. My journey started with, I was delivering a sales training course for an organization called the Dale Carnegie organization many, many years ago, like it's about 25 years ago. And at the bottom of the list was two dentists. And I was like, why were two dentists taking a sales training course with me? So I got to meet the two dentists the day before the course. And basically they told me, they were UK dentists, and basically they told me that they had taken all the technical courses. They had, they could place implants, veneers, crowns, But what they weren't very good at was communicating it. What they weren't very good at was getting patients to commit to the treatment plans, and they were very poor at discussing fees. So in short, these two dentists took the sales course with me, and on the second day, it was a 2-day program, and as they left the course on the second day, I asked them how the program went, and they put their thumbs up and said they really enjoyed it. And I said, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a ring in about 6 weeks just to see how the program went. And 6 weeks later, I ran them both up at home. And basically, those 2 phone calls changed my life, because both of them had told me that their treatment plan acceptance had increased. More patients were saying yes. But the main thing they told me was, for the first time ever, they were delivering the dentistry they love to do and that their patients wanted. And that was the main crux, or the main thing they got from the course, is for the first time ever, they were delivering the dentistry they love to do and their patients wanted. They had told their friends, and from those, basically those 2 dentists, they told about 26 dentists, and about 3 or 4 months later, I walked into a room and delivered my first ever, we called it the 2-day ethical sales and communication course. And if you fast forward now to 2019, I've now delivered that program to well over 19,000 delegates worldwide. I've just literally just come back from Australia, where I've been out there for 2 weeks delivering the courses in Sydney and Melbourne. And we've been to around about 14 different countries worldwide. I go to the USA every single year to deliver the courses. And we're probably responsible for hundreds of millions of pounds or euros worth of extra treatment plans. And like I said, today I'm going to share with you some key tips from that program that, again, will help you with your treatment plan acceptance. Today we deliver several different programs. We deliver a reception course, how to turn inquiries into appointments, the ethical selling course, an entrepreneur group, different programs. And I've written 3 books, and on the slide there, you'll see my 2 latest books, which are called Don't Wait for the Tooth Fairy, How to Communicate Effectively and Create the Perfect Patient Journey. And the other book, which is all about how to discuss fees with confidence. So those are the 2 books that we give out on our courses. And I probably delivered about 27,000 hours of communication training to the dental market. So it's probably more than anyone else I have in the world. And today I'm going to share with you, like I said, some proven techniques that will help you wherever you are based in the world. So do you reckon I'm glad I made those 2 phone calls? And like I said, those two telephone calls basically changed my life. And if I can give you one tip, really, and hopefully I'm going to share with you lots of tips today, is that if you can make telephone calls each day to your patients and keep in touch with them, patients that maybe have come in for treatment and you're following up with them at home, just to see how things are going for them, make 3 or 4 phone calls a day. The goodwill it provides is tremendous. And like I said, those 2 telephone calls basically changed my life. This is a course I did last week in Australia, just to give you an idea. And the 2 dentists there, that's at the football stadium at Manchester United, are Bill Schaefer and Stephen Jacobs. And Bill and Stephen are 2 of the very leading implantologists in the United Kingdom. They basically place between 500 and 600 implants each, and they've done about a dozen of my courses over the last 10 years. And in fact, in June this year, they're going to come and help me deliver another ethical selling course for dentists who want to place more implants here in June, which I'll tell you a little bit about here in Manchester. So just to give you an idea that it's all about relationships. And I'm very proud of the fact that I've got clients who have been clients of mine for many, many, many years. When I'm not doing this, I have a wife. She's called Grace. We just celebrated our 20-year of marriage, and those are my 2 children. We've just come back recently from a skiing holiday. So that's just a little bit about me and what I do. So let's jump straight into the program now and jump straight into the material. And like I said, you are here. So I hope you've got your pen and papers ready to write some notes down. And like I said, if you send me an email at the end of the presentation, I'll make sure we get the slides to you. So the question I always ask when I deliver these courses or deliver these webinars is, how many of you are in sales or see yourself in sales? And when I ask the question at conferences, you know, even today, after 24 years of delivering these courses, often only a small percentage of the hands that actually go up. And the main reason why the hands don't go up is that people see themselves, you know, when you see the word sales, you possibly think of maybe somebody trying to sell you a car or somebody ringing you up at home trying to sell you something. And, you know, there's probably a bad, you know, sales has probably got a bad press or bad press, maybe mainly in the UK, but I would say probably worldwide as well. And the question you've got to say to yourself is that really, would you agree that every single one of you is in sales, that every single one of you is selling an idea to another human being, another patient every day? And if you think about the patient journey, that everyone in your practice is involved in sales, because when a patient comes in, there's, you know, they're dealing with all your team in your practice. There's many steps or stages that they start from, and whether the patient has a world-class patient journey with you or not will all depend on how well they are treated by each person that works in your practice or your office. And the most important person, in my opinion, the most important salesperson in your practice is the receptionist, because she can make or break whether the patient comes through the door or not in your practice, or whether she goes to the practice down the road. If you think about every single new patient inquiry to your practice, potentially is worth a minimum of about £3,000, possibly even more when it's implant treatment. And really what I have found over many years is that the person who's least trained is normally the person who answers the telephone at the desk. And I call them the managing director of first impressions, because they are, like I said, in my opinion, the single major most important people in your practice. They're the people, the person who speaks to your potential patients first, and in my opinion are the most important people in your practice. So to conclude here, really, every single person in your practice is involved in sales. Every single person is involved in communication, and whether the patient has a great experience or not will all depend on how well your communication skills are. And like I said, in this seminar today, this webinar this morning, we're going to share with you some proven techniques that will work really well for you. Now, on my 2-day ethical sales and communication course, which I deliver virtually every single week, I deliver this year alone, we'll have well over 1,200 people take the course. We'll deliver close on about 40 programs. I cover 8 steps, and I will go through those 8 steps with you during the presentation. But really, you could probably narrow it down to about doing 4 steps really well. And the first step is really about building relationships with the right type of patient. And it really is all about rapport building. And rapport building is the most important part of the whole selling process, because if you haven't got the rapport, there's no trust. And if there's no trust there, there's no bonding, it's going to be very difficult for you to influence a patient to your way of thinking if the trust isn't there. So rapport building with the right type of patient is really important. Now, today we're going to be focusing on implant treatment. And with that respect, then, you have to have a conversation with someone who's the right type of patient. Now, what do I mean by the right type of patient? Well, the right type of patient is someone who's absolutely genuinely interested in your services. They have a burning desire. They're interested in having lovely teeth, who are interested and have the problem that that you can solve. So, for example, it may be what you need to accept is that after that you may have some patients who have got a gap, who have got a loose denture or an ill-fitting denture, but they're going to. Some of those patients will not be bothered about changing, about having an implant. There'll be some patients who are just not interested in having your solution. they're quite happy to live with it. And what I mean by that then is that what you need to accept is that it's virtually impossible to get a 100% success rate in turning patients who have a problem into implant treatment, because there are going to be some patients who are just not that bothered and are happy to go through life with a loose denture or a gap. So it has to be the right type of patient who's genuinely interested in what you have got to offer. Now, the second part of the ethical selling approach is the questions that we ask. And I'm going to spend, like I said, a bit of time with you this morning on discussing questions and how to ask questions. And really, when you ask the right type of questions, it helps you create opportunities. Now, the third part of the ethical selling approach is solving the patient's problem. So you find out what the patient's problems are. Hopefully, they've got a loose denture, they've got a gap, they want it replacing. And then it's really is about the type of language that you use. And what I have found traditionally of working in the dental market for, like I said, nearly 25 years now, is that many dentists tend to talk very technical. They tend to talk a language that really the patients don't understand. And I will help you with the language that you use again later on in this webinar, because the language is really important. And the last part of the ethical selling approach is all about the commitment step, is that when you turn around to the patient and say, well, here's your problem, here's the best solution, how does this sound? And hopefully the patient says, yes, I'm definitely interested in that and I'd like to move forward. So in short, every single person in your practice is in the communication business, because you are selling ideas every single day. And whether a patient goes ahead or not with the treatment will really all depend on how well you are at communicating and how well your team are at communicating your ideas and your solutions to the patients. So what I want you to do, please, is I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I'm going to take some water, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds. And what I'd like you to do is think of somebody who you know personally, who you think is really good in sales. Now, it can be in any industry, and it also can be in maybe another dentist as well, who's really good at selling their ideas. What I'd like to think about, just for 30 seconds, just jot down some ideas here, is what skills, what attitudes, and what traits do these people possess? So what skills, what attitudes, what traits do these people possess? Like I said, write down a few thoughts, see if you can come up with 5, and then we're going to explore them in the rest of this webinar. And like I said, I'm just going to take some water. I'll be back in 30 seconds. So hopefully you've wrote down quite a few ideas. And here's the thing that's really important. You've got skills, attitude, and product knowledge. So to be successful in dentistry, to be successful in sales, to have more patients to say yes more often in an ethical manner, you need to have 3 things. Now, the first one is what we call the skills. And the skills are good communication skills, good at listening, good at dealing with patients' objections, good closing skills, getting the patient committed to your treatment, good people skills, and good at talking benefits about language. So, and the other part of what's important is attitude. So positive belief in your product, you're confident, you're enthusiastic, you're optimistic, adaptable, flexible, you're getting on well with people, and product knowledge. Now, the product knowledge is the most important. And what product knowledge is the ability to actually deliver the dentistry itself. You know the attitude, you know that you can actually deliver the dentistry. But what's important in a consultation with your patient, if you've got a consultation with your patient, about 85 to 90% of your success in whether a patient says yes or no will all depend on skills and attitude. And product knowledge, although absolutely crucial, is only accountable for about 10 to 15% of your success. So let me repeat that again. 85% of a consultation, I'll prove that to you today, whether you are successful or not will all depend on how good your skills and attitude are. And this really is come to head. So if you really think about your financial success, and the vast majority of whether you're successful or not in a consultation will all depend on how well you are in communication and attitude. And what I have found is traditionally over many years is that many dentists spend the vast majority of their time developing their product knowledge skills, but spend very little time developing their communication and attitude skills. And if you really want to become more successful in getting your patients to say yes, then the more you spend developing your ethical selling communication skills, then the more successful you will become. I'm biased, I know that, but I've got literally thousands and thousands of success cases that when you invest in your communication and ethical selling skills, your treatment uptake will increase. And like I said, I'm going to share one or two key skills with you today. So you can have all the technical knowledge in the world, but really is about how good your communication skills. And the other thing that's really important is this, I want you to leave this webinar today, and I want you to remember that when you have a consultation with your patient about implant treatment, for example, is that your patients are coming to see you and they want a life-changing conversation with you. It really is a life-changing event that they want to talk to you about. And sometimes what I don't think is, I think dentists see this as another consultation. And I want to just share with you just a personal story for myself, that many years ago I went to the theatre with my wife, in fact it was about 10 years ago, to see a play in London called The Billy Elliot. And Billy Elliot was at the theatre. It was on for 13 years, consecutive years. Every day it was on, and it played to 1,500, 2,000 people every single day it was on. And when I went to see it, it really was fantastic. And I remember there was a standing ovation that lasted about 5 to 7 minutes at the end. And when I turned around to the girl who worked at the theatre and I said, I can't believe I'm here on the best night ever. And she turned around and said, no, it's like this every night. And I said, I can't believe they can perform like this every single day, every single night. And when she turned around, she says, yes, they do. Because before they go on stage, they have a group huddle. And in the group huddle, they say, let's perform like it's the first night, because this group of audience have never seen the act before. And what that really made a big impact on me, what she said, because sometimes I wasn't quite sure when I delivered my courses, I delivered them like it was the first night, but I did from that moment onwards. And my business has really taken off on the basis that every time I deliver my courses, I think about my audience, and I think about the fact that some of them, or the vast majority of them, have never seen my app before, never seen my courses before. And that's the same attitude I'd like you to think about as well, is that when a patient comes to see you, they want something that's life-changing. They want a life-changing conversation with you. And it's not just another consultation, it's something that's going to really make a big impact in their lives. So remember that when a patient comes to see you and they're talking about implant treatment, what they're buying is self-confidence, what they're buying is the ability to eat, chew, smile with confidence. And it's not just another conversation, another consultation with the patient. And that's really important as I go through the skills with you today. So let's now look at the skills that are essential. Now, on my 2-day ethical sales and communication course, we cover 8 steps. And it's the 8 steps to hearing a yes more often. And this is all in a very, like I said, a very ethical manner. And like I said, we spend 18 hours going through these 8 steps. So I haven't got time, obviously, to spend in the time that's left on the webinar to go into much detail, but I'm going to share with you 1 or 2 of those key skills. And it starts off with preparation and building rapport. And preparation is everything we do before the patient comes through the door. The rapport building is connecting with the patient, getting them to like you, to trust you. The second part of the ethical selling approach is the questions that we ask. And questions are really the key part of the selling process, just equally as important as the rapport building. Now, once you've understood what your patient's problems are, you do the examination, and then you can provide the solution. And that's providing the solution that addresses the patient's problems, that addresses the patient's issues. And again, we're going to talk a little bit about language this morning. The other part of the fourth part is using evidence. And the evidence is things that we can show the patient that will help us hear a yes more often. So things like before and after pictures, video testimonials, that type of thing. And then we have to discuss our fees with confidence, present the fee with the confidence and the value of what we can provide. Now, occasionally you do get price objections, you do get objections. So on the course, we teach dentists how to overcome objections and their teams. And the seventh part is what we call the commitment step. Is when you turn around to the patient and ask them if they're happy to go ahead. And again, the lack of closing is a big mistake that many dentists make. And once you've got commitment, you can then do consent, go through all the pros and cons of the treatment, make sure the patient fully understands what they're going through. And once the patient starts the treatment, obviously you can follow up them and hopefully get referrals and more patients coming through your door. So there's 8 steps to the process. Like I said, if you send me an email at ashley@thesellingcoach.com, I will send you these slides to you. But the first one, the most important step of them all, is the ability to build rapport. And my favorite story on rapport building was a dentist called, was a client of mine who operates in the south of England. And he received an inquiry from a patient on Friday evening at about 9:30. Now, he was watching television and it came through on his computer through the internet, and he immediately replied back to the patient. The patient, over the weekend, there was emails going back and forth, and eventually an appointment was made for 9:30 on the 8:30 on the Tuesday morning. Simon remembered the night before. Simon's preparing for his appointment, remembers the patient that's coming in, remembers the emails that they had over the weekend, and sees that this patient is a professional speaker, actually does what I do, and speaks all around the world. Before you knew it, he was on his website and watching his YouTube channel. And what was amazing was that Simon had just taken my one-day presentation skills course because he had a genuine, he wanted to learn how to speak in public, because he was now wanted to do a referral evening and is now teaching people dental implant education. So he had a special interest in learning about presentation skills, and he's watching this guy's YouTube channel. The next morning, the patient comes through the door. Before Simon had a group huddle in the morning, meets the patient at reception, and then starts talking about his occupation, the fact he was a great speaker, and became genuinely interested in the patient. And just spent the first 10-15 minutes just building rapport, nothing at all about dentistry, and just spent the first 10-15 minutes connecting with the patient. And what I've learned in life is the two things, is that number one, the best way to build rapport with somebody is that when you are genuinely interested in your patient, most patients love to talk about themselves. And when you have a genuine interest in patients and the patients are talking about themselves, and then you can really build great rapport. The other great way, by the way, of getting patients to like you is to give them a compliment. And when Simon, the dentist, gave the patient a compliment about how good his website was and the YouTube channel, then of course the patient had instant rapport and trust. And you won't be surprised that an hour later, the patient signed up to a treatment plan that was basically into 5 figures. So well over £10,000 worth of treatment plan. And what was the main thing that Simon did? Well, he built rapport and became genuinely interested. And when you become genuinely interested in people, they become genuinely interested in you. And the suggestion is that you really have to love your patients like you would your own family. This is one of my favorite pictures, but if you have that mentality and you want to connect with your patients, then you will build instant rapport with them and you'll get them to like you instantly. So that's just a couple of correct techniques and the importance of building rapport. But the other thing that Simon did really well was when he received the inquiry on a Friday evening, he instantly replied back to the patient. Now, I want you to imagine now that a patient is in your chair, maybe you've done some rapport and has expressed some interest in teeth whitening and asked you this question, I'm interested in teeth whitening, how does it work? What does it cost? How does the procedure work? Let me ask you a question now. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. How would you reply back to your patient now? Let's just imagine they express some interest, and how would you now reply back to your patients? What would you say back to them? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think about that, and then we're going to look at the importance of questions. So let me ask you a question. How many of you here would probably use some of this or a combination of some of this language, where you would turn around to your patient and say, well, we have two different ways of doing this here, two different systems. And how many of you would actually then start talking about the procedure, where you tell the patient that we take an impression, we send it off to a lab, you may mention the word gum shields, molds, trays, bleach, possibly mention it may be sensitivity. But honestly, how many people here would probably start talking about the procedure and not ask any questions? Now, whenever I've done this exercise, wherever I've gone in the world, I would say that 95%, if not more, would talk this language, would start talking about what you can do for the patient, but what you haven't done is truly find out what the patient's wants and needs are. So the second part of the selling process, which is the real key, is asking questions. And one of the biggest mistakes I find in dentistry, is that dentists tend to talk about the solution without truly finding out what the patient's wants and needs are. So let me repeat that again. The biggest mistake I find dentists make is that they talk about what they do without truly finding out what the patient's wants and needs are. And because you do this, it's costing you thousands of pounds a year. And the golden rule of selling is when you talk about what you can do without finding out what the patient's problem is, the golden rule is prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. And when you do this, the patient feels like they haven't been listened to and that all you want to do is sell them something. So the key thing here is that once you've built rapport, is the skill of asking questions. And what is the advantages of asking questions? Well, there's many advantages of asking questions. On my 2-day ethical selling course, I spend nearly 5 hours alone just on this material. So it's impossible to do it just in this few minutes that we've got. But when you ask questions, you create lots of opportunities. How many times do you ever ask your patients in a consultation, even regular patients, is there anything at all that you'd like to change or improve about your smile? Or do you typically ask them, have you got any problems today? So the many advantages of asking questions is that you'll create some new opportunities. It shows you care. It's easier to present solutions back to the patients because you can tailor what you do to the patient's wants and needs. And the other benefit is it builds stronger relationships, and you'll understand the emotional reasons why patients buy or take up your treatments. And there's normally, when you buy cosmetic treatment, there's always a reason why they do it, particularly implant treatment. And there's probably thousands and thousands of pounds, euros, dollars worth of opportunities with your existing patients today. And the major advantage of asking questions is that you have, with your existing patients, you've already got the relationship there. So when you ask questions, ideally, you want to be asking lots of open questions. So open questions are when you ask questions and the patients basically, they are giving you not a no or yes answer. So you want to be asking open questions so that the patients basically are doing most of the talking and are talking about their problems or what they're looking to change. So the more open questions that you ask, the better the conversation is going to be. So you want to try and avoid questions where you get a yes and no answer. Now, on the program, I go through a proven step process of asking questions. So here's some simple steps that you can use in asking questions. And the first set of questions you often want to be asking is what I call the current situation. And current situation is how are things now? So let's say, for example, you've got a patient who has a denture that's ill-fitting. It doesn't fit that well, maybe slightly loose. You know, what is it you'd like to change or improve about your smile? So that's a current situation question. And let's say, for example, the patient tells you about this loose denture. Now it's not ill-fitting. The desired situation is how would you like things to be? So if we had a magic wand, an ideal vision, how would you like things to be? If we had a magic wand, we can get rid of that denture for you. What would you like to see in its place? And the patient then starts talking about what their goals are, what their ideal solution is. The third set of questions are more information about the problem because we are genuinely interested. So typically you might be asking, how long has this problem been going on for? What impacts it's having? Why now? Why is it you'd be interested in changing now? And you're doing these, asking these questions because you, like I said, you have a burning desire to be genuinely interested. Now, once you've done that, once you've asked questions, you basically summarize back to the patient what they told you. So you basically summarize back what they have told you. And it shows that you've really listened hard to what they're looking for. So current situation is this, you decide is what you look here. And the reason why you decided to have the treatment done now is because you've got, this is coming up, it's impacting your eating, etc. So when you summarize back to the patient what they told you, I have to tell you it's a game changer. Because the patients start to say yes, they start to think, God, wow, they're really listening to me. And you, of course, you've got a real connection there with them and you've got that real rapport. And then a simple question is, what would it mean to you if we could do this for you? And when you ask that question, the patients start to tell you the major benefits they will gain by having your treatment. So the rapport building is the key, connecting with the patient, but the second big skill that you want to develop is the skill of asking questions. And when you can ask questions to find out what the patient's wants and needs are, and you can create the opportunities, then you'll start to deliver the dentistry that you love to do, and most importantly, your patients wanted. And the most important thing about asking questions is that you'll understand that the vast majority of their decisions are based around emotion and not logic. Now, typically, when many dentists provide solutions to their patients, they tend to talk logically, but it's emotionally that your patients buy, and that's why there's a mismatch sometimes in the communication skills. So you really truly understand what's important, why they want it, and what their emotional reasons are, and the impact it will have by having your solution. So there's so many benefits of asking questions, it really is. And like I said, if you can follow that process of current, desired, you know, how long, why now questions, summarizing back to the patient and asking them what would it mean to you, then you will create some tremendous opportunities to deliver the dentistry that you love to do. Now, once you've asked questions and you do the examinations, then you've got to start talking about solutions and how you can help the patients. And a massive mistake dentists make here now is that they tend to talk too technical. They tend to talk about what I call the aeroplane, whereas your patients are interested in the destination. So patients are interested in the goals, the destination of where you can help them, typically not that bothered too much about the aeroplane. The problem is that most dentists want to talk about aeroplanes because it's obviously it's a subject they're fascinated with themselves. And I also find that many dentists are technical people, so they would be interested in this themselves. So when you tend to use language such as titanium screws, drill in the bone under anaesthetic, abutments, using the word restorations, it's like a raw plug. What happens is when you're talking technical, you can typically turn the patient off. And what patients are really interested in is what I call the destination. And the destination is how you can help them and the impact your treatment can have. Now, I do accept that there is a place and you have to talk about the aeroplane journey, you have to talk about the technical part of it, and you have to talk about consent. I do understand that, and it is important, but it's where you do it that's really important in the process. And what you really need to do is talk about how you can help the patient, and that's really what they're interested in. When you tend to talk too technical, like I said, that the language that you use, you can tend to turn patients off a little bit because, like I said, they're really interested in the destination. So hopefully what we've done is I've given you some solutions, some ideas here that will help you in terms of the ethical approach. There's 8 steps, like I said, but the key ones that I've shared with you or gone through is the importance of that relationship building, the importance of asking the right type of questions. And like I said, I bet there's thousands of pounds worth of opportunities with your existing clients, particularly the new ones as well. And it is what's really important also then, of course, is the language that you use. And when you can start changing the way you do that, then amazing opportunities are created for you. So those are the 8 steps again. So what I'd like to do, if this is okay, is I want you to, hopefully you've got some great value in the 43 minutes that we've been here so far. I hope you've got some good value there. And think about the consultations that you have with your patients. And if you are genuinely interested in really taking these skills to a new level and learning from 2 world-class dentists and myself as well, a coach, we're delivering a 2-day ethical sales and communication course here in Manchester, the United Kingdom, on the 18th and 19th of June. We do this course every second year. This is our 4th one we've now delivered. This is, like I said, for dentists who really want to place more implants. It's a 2-day program. We will start very early in the morning and go on till 6 p.m. at night. And you will hear examples. I will give you all the material, and then you'll hear examples from Stephen Jacobs and Bill Schaefer, who have taken this course, like I said, a dozen times each now, and they will share examples, and you will learn from 2 world-class dentists on how to do this. They'll share their consultations from start to finish and how they get patient acceptance. Like I said, they know my material inside out. Bill's practice in the UK places more implants than any other, the implant centre in London, and Stephen Jacobs' practice is not far behind. So you'll learn basically from the best. So if you're genuinely interested, please go to my website, which is www.ashleylatter.com. That's ashleylatter.com. You'll see the details there, the information there. We have about 8 places available now. And this course always sells out, and it will sell out again. So if you are interested, we are here in Manchester the 18th and 19th of June at my training centre. For the people that can't make that, and you are based internationally, I do accept that with travel and everything else, it can be challenging sometimes. Then we do run the courses online. So again, if you went to my website, you can take the course online. It's 8 videos over 6 hours of material. You can take it with your team. I go through all the 8 steps with you. The final video is actually me delivering the consultation, 26-minute version from start to finish. So you will have a proven approach of the 8 steps that we cover on the course. And also we have the telephone reception, how to turn inquiries into appointments as well. Now, I'm going to go through this with you. And because you've attended this webinar today with TRI, if you put the code TRI30 off, that's TRI30 off, and like I said, I will send you, if you send me an email, if you want a copy of the slides, I will send this link to you, but you can get 30% off both those programs for the next 2 days, because we're changing a code at the weekend. So if you do the next 48 hours, you can buy both those programs and get 30% off. Now, the major advantage of having the online course is that you'll have the same program that we deliver face-to-face. You'll have the same course as a 2-day program. It's 6 hours long. You got it for life. I give all the examples of the material from start to finish. We go through all the 8 steps, and you can take the program with yourself, with your team, or whenever you are, in the gym, if you walk, or whenever, in the car. You've got the program there for life. But the key thing I want to remember is that 85% of your financial success will come down to what you learn on this course. So if you are interested, then you can take the program online, have it for life, and you'll have a proven approach there for you. Your investment basically is less than what you'd pay or what you charge basically a patient for an implant. I think the average price in the UK is about £2,500 now. Well, you can learn less than half that price and learn the correct way of actually selling implants in a very, very ethical manner from start to finish. So if you are interested in those courses, like I said, if you put the code TRI30 off on the discount code, you can have those programs for life. A couple of bonuses that we're going to give you as well. So we'll send you a set of both my books. You'll get a copy of the manual, the implant manual with all the correct language, all the correct questions that you've got to ask. It really is an A to Z. I'll send you that implant manual as well, and you've got the CDs of the course to listen to as well. So if you are interested, now here's an amazing bonus that we'll also give you. A few weeks ago, I locked myself in my office, for about 10 hours for a client, and I rewrote their website implant page for them. So that's the correct copy that your implant website page should have. And it's proving a fantastic, the dentist is getting great success. He's had a significant increase in new inquiries to his practice, his office. So if you sign up for any of those courses, I will send you the website page for your implant. That's the copy that you need to have. It's proven it works. What I do find is that many dentists have rewritten their website page, and it is very technical. Well, I'll send you the copy that I did for my client. Like I said, it took me well over nearly 8 to 10 hours of hard work. This client spent many thousands of pounds with me. But I'll send you that as part of the program. So if you are interested in signing up for the online course, we'll send you the website copy as well. The last thing is that when you sign up for the online course as well, in about 4 or 5 weeks time, I will send you an email and we will arrange, you'll get an email well in advance, but we'll have an hour on the conference call where I'll answer any questions you've got and any coaching at all. So just very quickly, I'll just go through all that with you again. If you are genuinely interested, you can sign up for the online course, take it whenever you want. There's a 30% discount off that. There's a 30% discount off the reception course as well, how to take inquiries into appointments. Major benefits, but the thing, you've got the program there for life. I'll send you the manual for the course, the implant manual. You'll get CDs and my 2 books, and also you will get the website copy as well for your website, proven process as well, and of course the conference call. So I hope this has been useful. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you picked up some really good ideas from this webinar. I hope I've given you some really good value. If you please send me an email now, ashley@thesellingcoach.com. I will send you the slides as a reminder of my presentation today. Like I said, we do a lunch and learn every week, a video of me giving you tips out, and you'll get that as well. So just send me an email at ashley@thesellingcoach.com. I think we may have some questions. We've been going now 50 minutes. Hope this has been useful. And if anybody's got any burning questions they'd like to ask me at all about anything whatsoever, I think Holger might be asking the questions. Then I'm more than happy to answer them for you.
Yes, thank you, Ashley, for this great presentation. We have a few questions. Actually, some of them you already answered at the end of your presentation. There was some questions about the course in Manchester and UK to participate, but I think you answered at the last few slides everything. That it is a 2 days course and that there's still place available and so on. So that is clear already. I had one question from...
just go back to that, Holger. We have patient dentists who have traveled from Australia and India to take this course, and there have been tremendous benefits. All the information is actually on my website. So if they go to my website, ashleylatter.com, they'll be able to see all the information about that course as well.
Okay. And then there was one question just from a dentist in Lebanon, and he was asking, how would you convince a patient to choose a high quality implant instead of a low price implant? Because I think I can also say that in like in the Arabic countries or some, they mostly, it's always about pricing. And he said in the beginning of the presentation, it's not about price, but I think just a tip, a sentence, how can you convince to use a value implant or a high quality implant?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. It's interesting. In short, when you are presenting your solutions back to the patients, what the patient is always interested in is what's in it for me. Which is in the UK, we call it WIIFM, what's in it for me. So what you basically need to do is present the two options to the patients and tell them what the difference is between the two options and how the patient can benefit. So the patient's only interested in what's in it for me, what's the benefit of one option against the other. And you need to explain that to the patient hopefully avoiding using technical jargon. So present the features, tell them what the features are, what the difference is, but explain to the patient what the major benefits are to them, because that's what the patient's really interested in. So for example, is it superior product? Is it made differently? What's the unique selling point? What's the difference, the uniqueness about one option against the other? And that's what the patients are really interested in. They want to know what's in it for me, WIIFM. So what's the uniqueness, the unique difference between one solution against the other, and explaining how the patient can benefit.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I guess that's okay. Yeah, that's good. So far as I see, there's not more questions in the moment. And so I would like to take the chance to just like say thank you to you for this great presentation. I'm quite sure we can do a second webinar in the future together. And so I thank you very much for your time. And I like to take the chance to introduce you to our to our Facebook site, which is really interesting for all doctors who are users of TRI, of the TRI system. This is a community on our Facebook where you can download and upload your cases if you document them, where you can communicate with your local with your colleagues all around the world, where you can ask questions about implant treatment and about the system and so on. So please go ahead and join this group and share your clinical cases with us on the TRI Academy community on Facebook. Further than that, then I would like to announce that there is also a few places left for a very interesting topic in Zurich, a course in Zurich, a 2-day course in Zurich on the 27th of June immediate implant placement and provisionalization with soft tissue management, analog, and a big part digital approach. This is going to be in Zurich with Ramon Gomez Meda, Dr. Ramon Gomez Meda from Spain. And this is a super interesting 2 days course. So please feel free to contact us and be participating on this course. And then there's another course. Everybody knows there's the digital workflows are more and more important. As you maybe know, we just announced our matrix connection at the past IDS in Cologne. So we're going to have a course which is fully about digital workflows from planning until the final crown in Zurich as well. And this is taking place on the 5th to 6th July, also in Zurich. And last but not least, I would like to tell you that you have to save the date for the next webinar. The next online webinar is taking place on the 22nd of May, so about in 2 months. And then I would like to thank you for listening in this webinar. Again, Ashley, thank you very much for this nice 1 hour presentation. And see you next time.
Yeah. No, it's been, I've fully enjoyed it, really have. It's very strange talking to a computer with no interaction back from people, but hopefully we gave you some gems there today that will help you in their consultation. So no, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for your help as well this morning in setting everything up.
Yeah, don't worry. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.